Government watchdogs, presidential historians, and other critics say it is an escalation of unethical and even unconstitutional conflicts between the interests of the United States and its president, like cartoonish levels of corruption. If the Bidens had done anything approaching this, MAGA would be calling for all of them to be executed. No question about that. But when it comes to Trump, those values reveal themselves to be as arbitrary as they seem.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hey, this is Ashley with Status Coup. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, close allies of Trump, have apparently made a huge investment in the U.S. military-industrial complex and in Trump himself, though not as big as Trump would want you to believe. And whether this money ever actually materializes for the U.S. military-industrial complex is not actually a guarantee. So the agree was on Monday, and here is a write-up from Axios on the deal. Trump claims victory on squishy Saudi Arabia investment promises. President Trump loves nothing more than flashy investment promises, and the Saudis on Monday obliged to the tune of $600 billion, and as we'll see, that $600 billion figure is in question. Why it matters. This is an optics win for a White House cognizant of America's rising economic anxieties, even if some of the money never flows. Driving the news. The Saudis agreed to buy nearly $142 billion of military equipment and services from U.S. defense contractors, nearly double the kingdom's entire 2025 defense budget. Saudi Arabia also agreed to purchase gas turbines from GE Vernova, planes from Boeing, and to invest in U.S. companies via new private equity funds. By the end of his trip to the Gulf, which includes stops in Qatar and the UAE, Trump is hoping to obtain more than $1 trillion worth of deals and economic commitments. By the numbers, an itemized list provided by the White House doesn't come close to $600 billion. Instead, it works out to $282.8 billion, nearly 30 of which involves private sector tech investments in both countries. Some of those are from U.S. companies like Google and Oracle. The remainder seems to fall under the enumerated umbrella of many other deals, which may include NVIDIA's new agreement to sell chips to Saudi Arabia. The White House declined to provide more granular information when contacted by Axios, but reiterated the headline number, reality check. Even if all $600 billion were accounted for, which it isn't, that doesn't necessarily mean there will be $600 billion of investments. And they note Trump secured $450 billion via a similar Saudi pledge in 2017, but it didn't all materialize. So really, we're looking at $282.8 billion, not $600 billion. I am not sure this administration can actually do math, but there is a gulf between 282 and 600, especially when you're talking about billions of dollars. And if this is being sold as a sort of win for working people and investment in us, in our economy, just no, it's not. This money is for private industry. We will never see any kind of financial return on our selling war weapons to Saudi Arabia. And more importantly than that, these are US-made weapons that will be used to bomb Yemen and fuel Saudi Arabia's war in the Middle East, something which the US has a vested interest in. Further to that, this is not just an investment in the US military-industrial complex, it is an investment in Trump himself. This is from the Washington Post yesterday. Trump's Middle East trip marked by potential private business conflicts. The Trump Organization has entered into real estate deals in all three countries the president plans to visit this week. President Donald Trump kicks off the first major international trip of his second term Tuesday in a region where his family business has grown significantly in recent months, presenting his administration with more potential conflicts of interest than ever. The president's sons, who head the Trump Organization, have spent the past few weeks crisscrossing the Middle East, laying the groundwork for deals that will benefit the company and, in some instances, Trump himself. Government watchdogs, presidential historians, and other critics say it is an escalation of unethical and even unconstitutional conflicts between the interests of the United States and its president. This is simply like cartoonish levels of corruption. If the Bidens had done anything approaching this, MAGA would be calling for all of them to be executed. No question about that. But when it comes to Trump, those values reveal themselves to be as arbitrary as they seem. So here's more from this piece. A week before Trump was scheduled to land in Saudi Arabia for a trip that would also take him to Qatar and the UAE, his son Eric spoke to a crowded convention center in Dubai about the Trump organization's plans to build an 80-floor hotel and residential tower there. He boasted that the incredible icon would redefine luxury and have the highest infinity edge pool in the world, overlooking the towering Burj Khalifa building. On behalf of myself, on behalf of my family, he said, we love Dubai. We have such a great relationship between the United States and just one of the greatest places. And I'm so glad to call so many of you friends. And we have some of that video here, so let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization, Mr. Eric Trump.
Well, everybody, I can't tell you how excited I am to be on the stage this evening. We have been waiting for this moment for nearly 20 years to get it right, to build the best hotel anywhere in the Gulf, anywhere in the Middle East. And we're going to do it right here on Sheikh Zayed Road. I got to Dubai in 2006 and I saw a vision for this city, and the way it's been executed is nothing short of unparalleled. We saw it go from a small but incredible place. And every year as I showed up, I saw another building, I saw another dream, I saw another amenity get built in Dubai. The vision has absolutely been incredible. And every single one of those years, I saw a project, but it was never quite right for us. The location might not have been perfect, or it wasn't the right timing. And we found the right timing, and we found the right location, we found the right project, and we have the greatest partners in the world in Dart Global, and its chairman, Yosef, who is just a dear friend, and I can't be more honored to be here. This building, I have worked on it every single day for the last 6 months. It's exceptional.
It's exceptional. The building is exceptional. Sure. Okay. That opening was so tacky, but beyond their documented lack of taste. They found the right time, which just happens to be now while his dad is in office again. And he's been working on this every day for the last 6 months. So right around the time his dad took office again. I mean, that's just so brazen. Hunter Biden's head would be on a pike if they had done this. And it's not just Eric, it's Jared too. So here is video from Morning Joe. So Stephen Ratner on the $2 billion Jared Kushner received from Saudi Arabia. I've been in this business for 40 years. I've never seen someone get $2 billion, 2/3 of their money from a single investor. So here, let's watch some of this.
Jared Kushner did work in the White House. He worked very hard. It's becoming a little less clear what he actually worked hard at, because after he left the White House, he went out and raised $3.1 billion, that's billion with a B, for a private equity fund. And as you pointed out, he's not a private equity guy. He's a real estate guy. So where did this money come from? Some of it we know from filing, some of it we know from press reports. What we know for a fact is he raised the $3.1 billion. What we also know for a fact is that only about $30 million of it actually came from investors in the United States. All the rest of it is foreign money. And of that foreign money, $2 billion of it came from the Saudis. And not only did it come from the Saudis, but the Public Investment Fund, which is the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, from which this money came, the board of it voted against giving the money to Jared, and they were overruled by MBS, who said, give him the $2 billion. I've been in this business 40 years. I have never seen someone get $2 billion out of $3 billion, get 2/3 of their money from a single investor. Usually a single investor might be a few percent of the fund, might be 5%, occasionally 10%. Never seen this. Another $200 million, we believe, came from Qatar. Another $200 million, we believe, came from the UAE. And then the $625 million that came from foreign investors that we don't even know who they are. So what was Jared Kushner doing in the White House? And by the way, as a fun fact, on January 6th, the famous January 6th, Jared Kushner was in the Middle East.
So I think from that video, I can tell you what Jared Kushner was doing in the White House. And again, that was Stephen Ratner who's talking about this. I don't know. It just couldn't be any more obvious that Trump and his family are using their time in office to invest in themselves. They're making business deals to enrich themselves that happen to also be funding war in the Middle East. that's what's happening right now while Trump is on his, Middle East tour. Meanwhile, at home, they're defunding the social services that working people rely on. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of this coverage, please do become a paid member of Status Coup. You can do that at statuscoup.com/join. Again, it takes a lot of resources to be able to, get these videos out, to be able to do this on the ground reporting. So if you can, please do become a paid member, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.